Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and today we're gonna be reviewing Put a Ring on It, Season 3, Episode 8, Step Up or Step Aside. And last episode, we saw that we were hanging on to Sharlena's words as she was trying to say whether she was gonna go on another date with the guy or not. And as I told you guys last episode, my feelings was that she would not want to go on another date with the guy because now Otis is doing what she wants Otis to do. So because Otis is doing what she wants Otis to do now Otis is behaving, she doesn't need to punish him any further by going on another date. Now, prior to Otis forcing out tears from his tear ducts so that make her he would tear up, I'm pretty sure she felt like she was gonna go on another date with this guy to kind of rub it in Otis's face. But now she has a problem with what he said. Oh, he said he's gonna take me from my men. Now you have a problem with it. But when he was saying it, you felt like it was good. It was good trouble. This is what we've been talking about with this couple, with this one up thing that they try to do to each other. It's ridiculous and I hate seeing it. It's so very childish. If you guys are gonna do the tit for tat thing, break up, because at this point it's ridiculous. And the way Otis was forcing out tears, that was insincere. The man was doing what he felt like he had to do to get his woman back. If he had to force out a couple of tears for it to happen, that's what he was gonna do. And she's buying it already. So, let's see. This is so hilarious. Fonzo interjects and states that these men are not trying to be your friends because Sharlena was like, oh, she just wants a nice friend. And he's right. These men don't want to be your friends. Which man ever intends to go on a date with a woman to be her friend? That's ridiculous. So I agree with him there. And then she was like, oh, you see, Fanzo can't have any female friends. He admitted it to you, and that is what puts she on such a high alert, because she knows that he's not about to be your friend. So she's thinking, okay, let me stop him before he cheats. But it's just not a sustainable way of being in a relationship. You can't stop him if he wants to cheat. And the women also don't intend to be friendly. Who wants to go on dates with people to be their friends? Period. And I do agree a little bit with Sharlena that women do know how to be a friend to a man. Yes, we do. We know how to remove sex from a dynamic. If we want a friend, we could be a friend. And a lot of men know that. That's why they don't like being in friend zones. Because being in friend zones means no access to sex. And sex is oftentimes what they want. She says she doesn't want the energy of disruption in a relationship, but she was very much open to it. So Otis is trying to interpret what Sharlena was saying, which is what he came up with was that Sharlena was saying the man thinks essentially she's a weak woman. And then Sharlena was like, don't ever say that again. That's absolutely not what I was saying. And we are back at square one again. I think what it is that Otis wants to kind of try to reduce Sharlena's worth, so to speak. And there goes that tit for tat thing again. Let me try and get a little jab back at you, but make it seem as if I'm just saying this innocent thing. What he said purposefully to trigger her. And he felt like, okay, for some reason, let me look at it from the man's perspective. Oh, he's looking at her like she's a weak woman. The man was making a general statement, and anybody that happened to be on a date with this guy, he would probably respond to them in the exact same way. I don't think it has anything to do with her, nor that it does it correlate to anything pertaining to her. He was just talking ish. And for him to interpret it as, oh, the guy sees her as a weak woman, it's a little bit disrespectful, because you're saying that she's kind of weak. And you're alluding to the fact that she kind of has no self-respect, when what she is saying is she does have self-respect. So, I don't know what this is. It looks like an attempt to belittle her again. And Dr. Nicole said something really important. The safest thing to do in a relationship is to ask for verification. What did you mean when you said that, as opposed to getting angry first and then interpreting what the person said for them? That's the safest thing to do. Otis and Sharlena are doing the assignment and writing down things that they want in the relationship. Now, for this little argument here, I have to be on the side of Otis simply because Sharlena mentions she wants quality time, and by that she means just her and Otis talking, chatting, getting to know each other more, bonding on various things. She doesn't want there to be any social media influence, not being here but also being on the phone. But Otis is saying, okay, you require that from me, but you don't even do that yourself. Meaning, when we are together, you are also on Facebook. So then she takes it as a tit for tat thing where he is kind of throwing back what she does in her face. But I feel as if you require it from Otis, you have to be the one to do it too. And I do understand sometimes the man sets the precedent, so he will be the one to go in his phone first and then you do it. To me, that's okay, that's fine. But don't say you want something and do things that also sabotage the quality time that you say that you want. But I do see how it makes sense if he's the one that initiates the social media thing, and so you're like, okay, well, let me go on my phone too. I understand it, but then it still becomes this tit for tat thing where monkey see, monkey do. You're in your phone, okay, let me go in my phone, kind of thing. So in that case, I understand where Otis is coming from. So this exchange has become, okay, you want this, but you don't do it for me. And that's the thing. She's stating what she wants. So after she stated what you want, you state how you're planning to do or give her what she wants. Then when it's your turn, you state what you want, and then she's gonna tell you how she's gonna do more to give you what you want. It's that simple. But what Otis is doing is, after every time Sharlena says what she wants or wants more of, he goes and he says, but I give it to you. But the point is not that you don't give it to her. The point is that she wants more of it. So that's the thing that circles back to, you're not listening to her. You're listening for you to respond, but you're not listening for you to understand. And that is the block in their relationship. The lady is saying you criticize her more than you give her positive words of affirmation. And you're saying, okay, I do say I love you. I do say you're pretty. You're not giving her enough of that. That's what she's saying, and it's making her insecure. Now, for you to not understand this very simple concept, it just blows my mind. It simply speaks to the fact that you don't want to listen to her. You want to listen to yourself. That's what it is. So they're back at the group meeting, and essentially what Sharlena and Otis need to do is really try to listen to each other and make sure that you're listening to what the person is saying as opposed to what they think the person is saying. If you are likely to misinterpret and get angry, before you do get angry, ask for clarification first. And for Otis, instead of dismissing Sharlena and assuming that what she's saying is not true or not valid, really try to understand and gather where she's coming from and how she's coming to her conclusion. The point of their interaction is try to see where each other is coming from, and that is gonna be the key to whether you guys move forward or stay stagnant where you are. It requires both of their participation, not one person's. Okay, so next week we see that they cannot go on any new dates. They have to pick somebody they've previously been on a date with. And you see who Sharlena chose? That same guy she said she didn't want to go on another date with out of respect for Otis. Now we find her asking him whether what Otis said about her being weak was true and is truly how he felt about her. So this is gonna be a mess. Anyways, let's go into our other date. The person that I'm gonna go with the second time around is Shaye and Alfonso. So let's get into them. So Alfonso is going on a date with somebody new, and she is seemingly trying to take a different approach and allowing him to go on the date and make his own decision. Now, in my opinion, do I feel like where she is coming from is genuine? Absolutely not. But we will see. So the date comes in and she looks super young. She looks like she's 26, 27 years old, but she said she's 33. And she comes in, she's beautiful. She states that, she doesn't go after people's men. People's men find their way to her. So we know this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for Shaye and Alfonso. This is hilarious. So the woman comes in, sits on the chair, and she decides that she's gonna set some grand rules of what the date cannot do. There she goes again. So essentially, she removed the strings or the leash of Alfonso and she kind of put it on the date instead. So essentially, she has not changed. She's doing the same thing Dr. Nicole tells her not to do, but instead of doing it to him, she's doing it to the date instead. Now, I don't know what makes she thinks that the date is not gonna do what she wants regardless, but if it makes her feel better and settled in her being, then by all means do what you feel like you need to do. But you can't tell the lady what to do. She's a grown woman. She's gonna do what she wants to do regardless. She's still doing the nonsense. I knew that was a facade. So she has implanted her little mind control chip in Alfonso's head. So they're done with the sushi. He's talking about, I can't feed you because that's the rules. That's hilarious to me. I do think couples should have rules, but I don't think that they should try to control each other's actions. If those rules are gonna kind of control your actions in regards to what you really want to do, then you're not really embracing the process, That's, I think, what the whole test is. Put me in a scenario and let me see how I will naturally act, as opposed to put me in a scenario and let me see how much I stick to the rules of the relationship. Alfonso lets us know that he likes a natural woman. He doesn't see the point in them getting surgeries because at the end of the day, it's not about their bodies, it's about their minds. So this is the most I've seen Alfonso open up on a date, and I think that it's because it's the most we've really seen Alfonso be on a date by himself without, she really bothering the situation. And he spoke about his blended family situation or lack of blending, and he mentions that it's his fault because he didn't set proper boundaries. And she's like, well, if you can't blend with Shaye, you can blend with me. But the point of the matter is, because he failed to set boundaries, any woman that he decides to be with or take seriously would have to deal with the fact that he did not set proper boundaries. So as a result, no family could really be blended. It's his fault he didn't have clear communication as far as the changing role of his baby mama, and letting his mom know, okay, hey mom, yes, that is my child's mother, but there's not gonna be a getting back with her. I'm with this woman now. This is who I want to be with. We need to figure out a way to come together. That's something he has to do, or else whether it be this new person or Shaye, it's not gonna work regardless. But I definitely feel like Alfonso does want to be on another date with the woman, but he's not saying it because he doesn't want Shaye to get in his stuff later on. So she's on a date with DJ Silver, and he removed that raggedy hat because initially I was like, is he gonna keep this hat on his head? And he took it out, and we see this big shiny bald head. But she we learned that she came to this area because of Alfonso. So, and we tell women this all the time, do not move for a man because you become dependent on him. Maybe that's why she's so, very pushy about joining families. Maybe it's because her family is not necessarily in her vicinity. And so she kind of wants that via Alfonso's family. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. But yeah. So Mr. Sir has a 1-year-old. This man has a 1-year-old child. Red flag, red flag. Absolutely not. Move right along. So Shay's date is giving her a little game and telling her, essentially, if he was in the same situation that Fonzo is in currently, it would not even get to that point, because the moment he decided he wanted to be in a serious thing with somebody else, he would communicate that to all parties involved. The baby mama, the mother, everyone involved would know. And so because everybody would know off the bat, there would be no issue, because he clearly communicated it from the beginning. So everybody knows, and so now everybody acts accordingly. But Fonzo didn't do that. For a long time, he decided to be with Shay, but decided to kind of keep Shay separately from his baby mama and his mother. And that is what created the issue. And then Shay is coming to the realization that maybe Alfonso just likes being in this mess. But I really just feel like he's a coward. I feel like he low-key is just a coward. Essentially, he's big, he looks tough, he's just a little soft coward, and that's the problem. Because she's realizing he wants to just play games. It's not that he cannot stop this mess, he wants to continue playing these games. Recently, allegedly, Alfonso's baby's mother came on to a platform, I think it was Instagram, to share her thoughts about what she thinks Alfonso is doing. And I'm going to read this for you guys quickly. And this information is brought to you by Ready to Love 5 on Instagram. So this is what she says. She says, I value him as my child's father. Had he been straightforward from the beginning, none of this would be going on. We have years of history together. His mom and I will always have a great relationship. We are doing a wonderful job co-parenting. I've moved on. I'm not the problem. His mom is not the problem. Their issues are bigger than me. Hopefully now he will be truthful and honest with Shay. She's cool, but he has to realize he needs to do what makes him happy and not let anyone control him. The cheating and the lying has to stop. He has been this way for years. She needs to relax and understand that she does not need to fight or argue with other women. If you're his girl, stop trying to validate yourself to these other women. Conduct yourself accordingly. They do not deserve all of your energy. Put him to work. Let him explain. I went through the same thing for years. He just loved women and the attention they give him. He has to work on Alfonso. I wish them both well. So that is what allegedly Alfonso's baby's mom had to say about him and the relationship. So clearly it's something that he's been doing throughout past relationships, where he's been unable to set clear and proper boundaries. And she's saying it's not her, it's not his mom, it's him. And I also agree. Let's go back to Shay's date. And the date is right. If it's to the point where every day you wake up with anxiety, every day you wake up in a flight and fight type of reaction, ready to react, ready to act, ready to fight, then it's not worth it. And you should move on. He's right. He's absolutely right. And that's the thing. Like she keeps trying to control Alfonso. If Alfonso thinks the woman was very pretty, allow him his opinion. Don't try and alter his opinion, because what you're gonna get in return is not genuinity. You're gonna get your views uttered in his mouth. So what do you want? Do you want your views repeated back to you, or do you want this person's genuine feelings about things? And that's what Dr. Nicole is trying to get Shaye to realize. Release the shackles. Because what you're gonna end up doing is not getting down to the authenticity of who Alfonso is. So essentially, Dr. Nicole had to tell Shaye, because her head is so hard. Let this man create his own boundaries as to how he wants to move forward with dating other women. Let him do it, and allow yourself to sit back and watch to see if you're included in how he decides to operate with other women. Let this man show you. Don't be afraid of what you get at the end, because what you get at the end may not be favorable, but it would be the truth, and you would know how to move after that. So Alfonso is a little annoyed about Shaye's date, because Shaye's date is putting her on game to the nonsense Alfonso is doing. And she's essentially saying it resonated with her what the man said, because it's true. And if indeed Alfonso kind of took that advice, they would not be in the trouble that they're in. And so she says she does see progress with Alfonso, but she realizes she has to be patient, because it's not only his feelings involved, it's other people that may or may not agree with his stance or his perspective. And that's that. In the previews, we see that Shaye and Alfonso both go on dates. Alfonso goes on another date with the woman he went on with in this episode, and then she went on a date with the guy she went on a date with when she fought with that other woman. So it's gonna be really interesting. That woman with Alfonso is really, really gonna make it tough for him. I see she's really putting on the work on Alfonso. And for Shaye, the man, clearly she had an attraction to him, so we're gonna see how that goes. Next, we're gonna move on to the other couple. But before we move on to the other couple, I do foresee that there will be issues with that woman and Shaye moving forward. There would absolutely be issues. But anyways, let's move on to our final couple. The final couple is Kenneth and Shorty. So Shorty, also known as Fengirl or Fennygirl, is being taken out by her date, and she's gone on multiple dates with him. I think his name is Tavin, and they're gonna go to dance, ballet, or whatever type of dance that they're doing. So essentially, Shorty is into this guy, Tavi, but she doesn't know if it's gonna outshine what she already has with Kenneth. So just based on what she's saying, to me, it feels like she doesn't quite want to let go of Kenneth yet. I feel like maybe she does, and if she does, she doesn't really want to be in another relationship soon after. It's just very confusing, actually, because you do get the intention that she wants to break up with Kenneth, but you also get the assumption that she also doesn't want to leave just yet as well. So it's very confusing, actually. She, however, feels like he's a really good date, and it seems like outside of the process, she would definitely date him. I also feel like Shorty kind of sabotages herself a bit, because the same way when she was with Hollywood, she ended it not because of anything bad, just because she didn't want it to get serious. She's kind of doing the same thing with Tavin, where it's like she wants to cut it off before it gets to a point where it's too serious. But it's a situation where, what do you want? Do you want a new start, or do you want the old relationship? And oftentimes these people that come on this show tend to stay in the relationship that they're in, despite the magnitude of issues that they have. They decide to stay, all because of time, all in the name of time, all in the name of history. And it's ridiculous. If it's not positive history, then what's even the point, you know? So Kenneth meets with Dr. Nicole so that, I guess, he could let her know what's been going on with him in the relationship. And he speaks on the fact that Shorty constantly belittles him and he feels like less than. It does make me question Kenneth, because if she belittles you to the point where you don't even know what to do with yourself, if you get to a point where you're so angry at what she calls you and how she treats you, why do you stay? And because a lot of men would not put up with that, despite their love for you, despite anything. They simply would not put up with that. So what is making you put up with how Shorty is treating you? The only thing that I can come up with, that along with the fact that Shorty says he goes for women above his league, is that there is a financial benefit with staying with Shorty. That's the only thing that I could come up with, because that is precisely why some women stay in abusive relationships, because financially they're not able to just leave. So I think it just comes down to financial security with Kenneth. So essentially, all the chaos that he speaks on when he speaks on Shorty, Dr. Nicole is essentially telling him, you add to it as well. A lot of people like to talk about relationships and speak on what the other person does wrong, but seldom do they say what they do wrong. And I feel like he definitely adds to it. He accepts it. He gives back what Shorty gives him. It's not like he's this innocent person that just takes everything she says. When he reaches to that breaking point, he also engages back with her. So yes, he does co-create the chaos that he speaks of. And at this point, it's like, how much are you willing to take? And what is keeping you there so much? You know, and Dr. Nicole is telling him, you guys need to decide, like, is it something that you could get past and be in a long, healthy relationship in, or is it something you have to let go? It's always about, and somebody said this as well, I think it was Miss Crystal, when she was doing an analysis of this show. She basically said, a lot of the time in relationships, women always want certain things, like they need to be made happy, and you seldom hear what men need to make them happy, because I feel like men sabotage themselves and minimize what they need. Like if you ask any man, they would say, I just need sex and companionship. That's all they say they need. And when women say they need certain things, it's a whole laundry list of things. So I feel like men do themselves a disservice by minimizing what they require from a relationship. And society has made women want so much that they blow it out of proportion, and then the relationship becomes about pleasing the woman as opposed to pleasing each other. And I think Kenneth is lost in him trying to please Shorty, because essentially Shorty is, to me, his financial stability. So he needs to do everything he can to put her back in a proper space so that they could live harmoniously, because he needs her in that regard. That's the only way it makes sense to me. He's even coming to a point where he's gonna sabotage his own needs just so he can fulfill Shorty's needs. For what? For what? You can't possibly see yourself being happy in a relationship where you have to constantly baby this person, coddle this person, make this person happy. It's just exhausting. Essentially, in the group meeting, Shorty is trying to say essentially that she does not want to be in a leadership position. And I think she resents Kenneth because Kenneth has forced her in a leadership position. According to her, he lied to her initially, and then when she finally started having feelings for him, she kind of was trapped, in that leadership position. So I feel like she kind of resents him, and that's why she belittles him. And I feel like her date is an alternative to that, in that he leads and he allows her to be feminine, or like people like to say, rest in her femininity. So she thinks Kenneth desires to lead but doesn't know how to. What are you doing with a man that doesn't know how to do what men are supposed to do? That's crazy to me. So you're gonna teach him how to lead you? That doesn't make sense. So Kenneth thinks that the compliment that Shorty gives the date is kind of like backhanded jabs at him. And I do see how he could take it that way, but I can also see how he could take it as subtle hints at, this is what I want from you. You know, it's all based on perspective. Maybe it is subtle jabs. So there they go again. Kenneth feels belittled and Shorty feels like the man in the relationship, and Kenneth doesn't like that, you know. So Shorty feels like, I'm paying the majority of the bills, so I expect you to cook. And now he's kind of feeling like, my role is like a woman, like you're treating me like I'm the woman. He feels disrespected. She's thinking that Kenneth should stop looking for extra credit if he hasn't done anything extra in the relationship. She feels like it's a reciprocal relationship. I'm providing the money, you provide the household duties, you clean, you cook, you do what you need to do. It's not extra, it's just a reciprocal relationship. So Kenneth is done with being belittled. Shorty feels like he's doing the bare minimum and wants praises for that, and she's not gonna praise him. And he feels like, I'm done being disrespected. So Mr. Kenneth is gonna go on a date with Shorty's competition, the one that she kind of interned with and stuff like that. So that's gonna be really interesting. It's giving the illusion that now Kenneth is gonna become the man, you know, that Shorty wants him to be. But I don't know what's gonna happen, you guys. Let me know in the comment section. This has been quite long. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and see you guys next time. Bye.